Hi guys, Tugur here with a new video. And this video I'm gonna talk about something really controversial, or at least there is a lot of talks sparking about it. Um, I'm going to talk about Season of Discovery getting a new build, new vendor build, which often relates to either a new version of the game that is going to release, or a new season, or there are multiple like things. For example, also new servers, or just a simple like patch that is going to fix a lot of the problems. For example, um, so Season of Discovery. The main talks are that a lot of people do hope, and me included actually. I'm going to explain why. A lot of people are hoping for a fresh SOD, a Season of Discovery, with just one PvP server, one PvE server kind of thing, same as for Anniversary, and that would kill the time waiting for a Classic Plus, and that would take like a 1 year span, and like 1 year condensed span where everyone knows how long phases are going to last. My guess is 2 months every single phase, where they do fix maybe the few problems that you had with incursions and the few things that are like a bit out of line. For example, hunters at phase one kind of deal. That's what people do hope, and I kind of also hope that, because right now what Blizzard is doing with private servers is that they're trying to put fear into the players for committing time into private servers, where eventually they might close, which I don't think they're going to close anytime soon, just based on where they are situated. I think it's a way more complex thing than Nostarius getting a cease and desist, where they were compliant with stopping the server because they knew that there was an eventuality where you could have classic servers coming out. So that's something that is a bit different than that. I don't think Turtle WoW is closing anytime soon. I don't think even Ascension is closing down anytime soon. A lot of the speculation is that Ascension did write their own code from scratch, pretty much, and they just use. It's still a IP, intellectual property breach. They still use Warcraft themes and Warcraft assets, but the code itself is like denatured and put onto a country, like the service into a country with multiple VPNs, going to try to lower the ping for you, even if you're in EU or NA, for example. The servers on in Russia, for example, it will not like give you drastic ping. That's like what I understand right now for Ascension. And then you have like other servers, like for example Warmain, where it feels like they are never really going to close for some reason. Like, I don't know what the reason would be. Is it because it's Russian? Maybe it's not Russian. I don't know. I don't like on Warmain, so I guess it's very close to EU. So for my guess, Russia is probably the closest that could happen on, and also in a country where it's untouchable for NA to close anything down. That's how I see right now. But they're still putting fear inside of the players, and people do crave for Classic Plus. And I'm not gonna lie, playing Classic Anniversary has been fun, but if for some reason, for any reason, Classic Plus comes out on like official, I would be playing Classic Plus, because I think that's the next big thing. That would be the Retail 2. So you have Retail 1, where it's like the Retail timeline, and then you have the Retail 2, which is Classic and onwards, with new expansions maybe set into a classic philosophy, classic design, classic world. That's something I do see in the future. Now, that again, if they come out with a Classic Plus season style, that really sucks, because that's not really what I would like to. But having Season of Discovery for 1 year, with in mind like the metas, the phases, and maybe because it's shorter, some phases it will be digested a bit better. For example, having one big PvP server, one big PvE server, I think it could be fun. I think it would kill time. I think it's like a good in between, because if they're releasing it, let's say this month, it would be like great, but I don't think they're going to do that. And that's all speculation. It could also be just a hotfix or a patch that has nothing to do with like fresh servers. But like if they release a fresh server this month, it would kill the time between Nax and TBC and pre-patch TBC. It would kill the time for a lot of people that do just wait on Classic Plus. It would also reinvite a lot of the people that were alienated by SOD like being done and Mr. Pandaria releasing as if it's a consolation prize for those players where it has nothing to do with Mr. Pandaria. So a lot of the people that were going on Mr. Pandaria or are waiting for a Classic Plus or are disgusted because of how Season of Discovery has handled itself, they will just come back too. I think Phase 1, Phase 2, I would say Phase 1 is one of the most hyped phases when it comes down to Season of Discovery because a lot of people say GDKP, but that's not true. What made Phase 1 very good was because the raids were not long. It was very puckable. I think it was also on a shorter reset timer. So it was, like, if I remember correctly, it was on a shorter reset timer. So you would get more loot as well. You would get more possibility for loot. And it was also the new effect. Everything was new. Like you have Ashenville event. You had the BFD raid, which I find quite fun to do compared to Gnomurgan or Sunken Temple. And I think also with the runes, and if they release the runes a bit sooner, so don't have like only 3 or 4 runes available at that level, but like give all the runes from the get-go, the ring runes, the head runes, like everything, right? That would be a nice twist behind Season of Discovery because it would be on steroids for PvE, but also for PvP. And I think they could also do a bit of, I don't know if they're like willing to do, like, it's not a shoot and forget kind of thing. Season of Discovery. I think they need to do balancing because a lot of the balancing they did throughout the season, like throughout the phases. They nerfed, for example, shaman tanks. They nerfed hunters as well. They nerfed a few things here and there. I don't know if it's like possible to release it like this as is, with all the changes that they did towards PvP, PvP, PvE, PvEP raids, but also like classes. I don't know if it's like a shoot and forget kind of thing. That's why like I'm very like I don't believe in the fresh server. I would like to because it means that okay, Blizzard is like conscious of they still have a lot of work to do for Classic Plus, which I actually hope from not. I think Classic Plus could be something you can release with not that many changes. It could be with changes. It could still like have new content, but you don't need to release a like Classic Plus like finished product. It should not be like that. It should be something ongoing, a work in progress. I think it should be Classic Plus releases and every month or two you get something new. Even if it's very little, it could be new quests, it could be new profession recipes, it could be maybe some different loot. It could be some balancing on the classes. It could be like everything, right? But if they really want to, like, let's say, have Classic Plus, it should be like done for like 1 year of progress, then it will be like, it will take a lot of time. Like, I don't believe, like, if they do put Classic Plus in, like, with that mindset, it really sucks because I feel like, is it still going to be a work in progress or is it like a shoot and forget because you already did 1 year work on Classic Plus? That's something I really, like, am questioning. I think Season of Discovery, what I really liked, although like again it's also something I don't like, is that they had a vision but they were visionless kind of with the what's going on in the different phases. It felt like they're like working phase per phase or like 2 phases at a time, and they didn't really have like a clear vision on, oh, how is it going to be phase 8, what raid are we going to do. Like I think Scarlet, like the new raid that they did with the Scarlet, I think that's something that they did like last moment. I think they did like, they thought about it when it was like next time, something like that. And I think it would have been better if it was planned with a bit of vision behind it. But that's something also I liked about Season of Discovery because it was a work in progress. They really wanted to improve every single time, although sometimes they tried to improve and it was not improvement. For example, incursions. For example, MC was really bad. I find the heat system really bad, so don't shoot me. I think that's really, really one of the worst things it could do for MC. I think making it, it's not even hard. It just is like tedious because you had needed a lot of the fire resistance, which makes for boring gear, kinda. But I really liked what they did with the tier point fives, for example. I really liked the tier ones where they changed for like DPS specs. Like you could get tier one as a warrior and not be ridiculed because it's a tank set. No, it's also a DPS set. That's something I really liked about Season of Discovery. And I think they should also do that for Classic Plus. And that's why I want to be able to play afresh, because that would kill time first and foremost. A lot of people think like, oh, killing time, it's a waste of time. That's not true, because if you're like looking forward to something in the future, you still are like living today, right? And that's something I don't like. That like looking at, like, for example, the Riot MMO, right? Oh, it's so excited to have Riot MMO and then fantasizing about like different stuff, but it's so far away that you're killing your own joy by just thinking too much ahead of the time. You could also just not exist anymore, like in 3 years' time. So that's something you need to keep in mind. And I think having a Season of Discovery fresh would give a lot of the fresh enjoyers, because that's a true thing. Like even if like Classic Plus releases, people will still ask a fresh, because the fresh releases is always hitting different. And that's something maybe for retail that they could do maybe in the future, like a real fresh feeling outside of a remix, but like a fresh server for retail where everything that is going on is really just on one server. The community is like, anyway, something like Classic does that retail don't, right? But like the fresh feeling, the fresh community, the fresh I want fresh kind of movement, like it's never going to go away. That's something very classic. It has been existing since 2005 pretty much, because obviously when TBC released, that was in 2007 if I'm not mistaken, or 2006. I don't remember the timeline anymore. Like private servers always released with a fresh server. It was insanely popular, and then it died off because someone else released a fresh server, and it was always like this: MC, BWL, and then AQ next, and then new server fresh, MC, BWL, IAQ again. It went always like this. It was always like this, and it will always be like this. And that's why people are still asking for fresh for TBC servers. Like TBC Anniversary, they ask for a fresh server, and some people ask for GTKP. I already did 2 videos about it. I don't want to really talk too much about that anymore. It feels like really annoying. Which I would like to do is like debate with someone, like on a video with like a pro GTKPer and I'm an anti GTKPer pretty much, if you can call it like that, and have a discussion, like a real discussion, not like a scream battle or like an insult battle, but really a argument versus argument kind of thing. And that I would do. But like some people ask for a fresh with GTKP. I don't know why you would ask that, but whatever, you asked for that. But see, people ask for a TBC fresh, which how did it turn out in Wrath of the Lich King? They did a fresh server, and that fresh server really died within the 3 months, which I think it's like a poor management from Blizzard. They should have done it way before the fresh, so it like again would maybe evolve a bit better. But I don't know what happened there to die off like that. I think someone can explain to me what happened, but I think the fresh thing is always going to be a thing, and that's why like every single new server always has like a real pop of new players coming in, because it's the most fun thing. Like everyone is leveling, everyone is doing dungeons. There is no boosting meta, there is no summoning meta, there is no like prices being already set. A lot of people are still like doing their pre-bis grinds, which I think is one of the most fun things to do in PvE. And like the thrill of doing the first MCs, getting the first Akurias, the first Onslaught Girdles, those are really fun things to do. Although MC is quite boring, I still think that as an introductory, as a intro raid, it's actually doing its job. Let's say it like that. which could be a next video, which I'm going to do the next video right away, I think, because that's something I wanted to talk about. But anyways, what are you guys thinking about Season of Discovery? Do you want to have a Season of Discovery fresh? I know like a lot of the sentiment right now is like a hate Blizzard kind of movement, which I think is kind of dumb. You should like see your own fun and don't really look at the company. It's like, again, if you're seeing like this, you should be seeing about this for every single company. You should do the same for McDonald's. You should do the same for Zara. You should do the same for H&M. You should do the same for countries itself. You should do it for like anything that is happening in the world that is bad right now and that is sponsored by like big companies. For example, McDonald's sponsoring like Israel and whatnot. Like that's something that like it's something where people do still go to McDonald's, still go to Zara, and I think that's all okay. That's normal because you think about your own fun. You're thinking about your own stomach, which I think you should do the same for games. And I think like because it's like labeled Blizzard, you should not like be averse because of that and like think that private servers are that much better. They are fun. I play private servers as well. I play Warmane. I play still a bit of Ascension Bronzebeard, although again I have my like there is so much leveling I do want to do right now, and like right now I don't want to level. I just want to do PvP. That's what I'm thinking right now. PvP at a balanced state, arenas, like that's why I'm playing retail right now on my primary channel pretty much, till we have a classic plus, till we have a TBC. I look forward to for TBC. That's why I play Warmane. Like I can just do like some arenas and some BGs. But like I'm not here saying like, oh, if Classic Plus will release, I will never play it because it's from Blizzard. They will always do something bad. Guys, most of the things that are bad about Anniversary are also like player inflicted. That's something that people should like have a wake up call about it. Blizzard is not doing their job and they're not doing their best to combat those things. But the reality is, most likely they know their numbers about gold buying, and they know that if they should permaban every single gold buyer, they would no longer have any classic players. I think that's how I think they see, and they're like, I mean, if everyone is buying gold, why not put the WoW token? That's why it happened in Wrath or in Cataclysm. I don't remember the WoW token. And people were like outcrying, oh, there you're putting the WoW token, but I am buying gold on G2G. Anyways, that's like a little rant, but like that's something people like rant about Blizzard for being greedy with money, but yourself, you're buying gold on G2G. Yes, for more gold than what Blizzard would give for 20 euros, but still, you're buying gold. So don't be a hypocrite and mind your own business. Anyways, so Season of Discovery, I'd like a fresh. I think it would be fun. It would kill time. Now, is it something I would be playing from A to Z? If Classic Plus or TBC releases, I think I might like, I'm switching. Except if I'm having a lot of fun. And except if the population stays. Which, again, Blizzard kind of like competes with their own games. Like you have a retail expansion coming out at the same time that, for example, Wrath came out, at the same time that the Classic Fresh came out, or with a Som, for example, or Sod, for example, and at the same time you have a new phase on Mr. Pandaria, so they're competing with itself. I don't know if it's like a very good business practice, but they have their own numbers. I think they're not dumb. They're not shooting at their own foot when it comes down to population. I think they're like wanting more money. So obviously, if that's what makes them more money, they should just continue doing that. It just is a company. So obviously, it's not my money. It's not my company. So I'm not here to let them know how they run a business. That's why I'm not saying like you have to hire like GMs, because GMs are basically just players that are paid to do community job, but they're basically playing. So it's like it's the most ideal job. You could just give it to a student pretty much, and he would have the time of his life. He would be playing all the time, and when a ticket comes in, he helps. I think it's not the effective amount of money that you're spending on like someone that is like employed. So maybe it could be nice to have like volunteers, but like again, people are going to cry about it and they're going to say, "But I'm doing the Blizzard job for free." Like betas, for example, or all of us, like they're inviting players to test the game and do quality checks, and they're like even complaining to do that because like again, they're not paid to do that, which I understand. But like if you want to do quality checks, you need to do a lot of testings on a big sample size, which you cannot run in a company with a lot of people. You can't pay everyone. You cannot pay 10k players to test a game. You cannot have 10k employees testing the game at the same time. That's not possible. So that's why there is betas and alphas. But anyways, um, people will hate this video. People will like this video. Like I think it's like very black and white. Unfortunately, I think a bit of nuance would be nice in the community, but also in just the real world would be appreciated. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. Really appreciate you. And obviously, Classic plus hype. I would say also right now TBC hype. I would also say anniversary hype. I would also say private server hype. I would say everything that you're doing that is fun hype. Thank you, bye.